Mamdani's biggest campaign promises may have already hit the skids. New York Governor Hochul saying that she is not on board with these free city buses.
She doesn't sound too keen on the bus situation. Should she have said that before people voted based on that issue? Is that a shift? Understood, but do you plan to call President Trump?
I will be reaching out to the White House and as we prepare to actually take office.
As we say, let's just keep it a buck. He lied. He lied. He lied to get into office. He just lied. And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to be talking about your boy, Zohran Mamdani, mayor-elect of the Big Apple of New York City. He came in, y'all, with a whole boatload of promises, which we evaluated on our last video. And by the way, y'all, we used some graphics to give you a sense for how possible many of these promises are, particularly without the acquiescence and agreement of the governor and the statewide legislature. And spoiler alert, they're mostly not doable without the governor's assistance. And now Mamdani, in a new interview, not only is he acknowledging that, but he's also saying that he's going to bend the knee and call Donald Trump for help, y'all. Now listen, I am phrasing it as bending the knee, right? Because of the way Mamdani demonized Donald Trump and many of his supporters during the entire campaign. But frankly, it is the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do. And interestingly enough, y'all, I'm going to point out how Stephen A. Smith made a similar type of recommendation and was lambasted for saying that. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is I'm going to remind y'all of, look on your screen, that's Hochul. That's the governor of the state of New York. I'm going to remind you how she poured cold water on Mamdani's plans right away because he needs to raise taxes in order to achieve many of his plans. And she said right away after he won, she's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. So we're going to take a look at that. And then we're going to take a look at how Hochul has also poured cold water on other plans of his and how your boy is bending the knee and is reaching out to Donald Trump for help, y'all. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, y'all, we are launching our official Patreon. So if you want to be a founding member on our Patreon, we have just 222 slots, y'all. If you want to be a founding member, go down, click the very first link in the description, and you're going to feel good about this, y'all, because believe it or not, we are an actual paralegal school, and we help people get their paralegal certificate and get working in the paralegal field. And all of the proceeds from our Patreon, when you enroll as a founding member, all of that is going to go to scholarships for people who would like to study at our institute, y'all. So click that first link down in the description. Join us as a founding member, y'all. This deal will not come back. Now let's get into the story.
His agenda is incredibly ambitious. It is, as he has described it, a democratic socialist agenda. Free childcare, free buses, rent freeze, the list goes on. I talked to him on Monday night. He said to me he hasn't wavered 1 millimeter on raising taxes on New York City's wealthiest residents to pay for some of that. Now, Governor, you have said repeatedly that you would not raise taxes. You said, quote, I've said there's no new income taxes. Do you stand by that promise?
Yes. Again, what I find so fascinating is all this conversation about how I'm continuing to lead New York State. I'm the one putting money back in people's pockets and cutting middle-class taxes, as I've done, and finding ways to support child care. These are areas where I'm aligned with Zohran Mamdani. And we'll work on this.
So there you can see Hochul says she's not about raising taxes. Mamdani has actually said he wants to raise taxes on white people, y'all. He's actually said he wants to raise taxes on rich people. I guess in his mind, that's the same group of people. But no, it looks like Hochul says, that's not going to happen. So without her assistance, it's just not going to happen. Also, he wants to give free buses to the entire city. Something else that Hochul says is not going to happen.
I remember Dean speaking about the importance of changing a culture of no within OMB to a culture of how. And that kind of a vision of possibility is key to delivering on our campaign.
Because you brought this subject up, let's just talk about what Governor Hochul said very recently about buses. It sounded like it was a bit new, that she was saying it's not a good time to take revenue out of the MTA. Now, my understanding of your plan is that the city would subsidize the revenue, but she has other reasons why she doesn't sound too keen on the bus situation. Should she have said that before people voted based on that issue? Is that a shift? Or have you always known that she felt that way? And also, is there a workaround?
So this was one of his central promises, y'all. One of his central promises. How did he make this promise without, Hochul endorsed him. How did he make this promise without her agreement? Y'all see how this works? She endorsed him to get him elected and then immediately turned around and said, yeah, we're not going to do the things that he promised, y'all.
One of Mayor-elect Mamdani's biggest campaign promises may have already hit the skids. New York Governor Hochul saying that she is not on board with these free city buses, the idea from Mamdani. Since they fall under her jurisdiction, the incoming mayor may already find himself at a crossroads on the issue. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang with this story.
Cecile James is a lifelong New Yorker who would love free buses, but she's also realistic.
It would be nice if it happened, but this is a big city and we need the revenue for the city.
3/4 of New Yorkers support making buses free.
Free buses were a cornerstone of Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani's campaign, but on this cold night outside the Grant Houses on 125th Street, the MTA made it quite clear fares are still required. The same message from Governor Kathy Hochul, who endorsed Mamdani but put the brakes on his big promise.
I cannot set forth a plan right now that takes money out of a system that relies on the fares of the buses and the subways.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy tweeted today, quote, "Nothing in life is free. Remember this the next time you support a socialist." While critics scoff, Mamdani is moving ahead with his administration and is standing behind his promise.
These are not just slogans. These are commitments, and I look forward to delivering on them.
I would like there to be free buses. I don't know exactly how you would budget that, but I think it would always be nicer.
Of course, rides are already free for fare beaters, but everyone else will have to keep paying for now. In Harlem, Lucy Yang, Channel 7.
But one thing I do like about Mamdani, one of the two things that I'm going to mention here, I do like how he said, let's focus on how to get it done, okay? Because frankly, that is the correct attitude to take when you have an initiative. So I don't have any problem with free buses, frankly, I don't have any problem with free buses. I don't live in New York City, but in general, free buses, I don't have a problem with that. How are you going to pay for it is the question. If you could pay for it with the existing funding that you already have, excellent. But if you have to raise taxes on everybody, that's where I would have a problem. But just in and of itself, free buses, I don't have a problem with that. And I do think the correct attitude is how can we get things done, not whether or not we can get things done.
Well, I think the governor and I share a belief that in making buses free, we have to replace the revenue for the MTA. We cannot simply demand that they do so without covering the amount of money they would raise from fares. And that's a cost of about $700 million a year. And I continue to be excited about the work of making the slowest buses in America fast and free, and of sharing the governor's interest in delivering on an affordability agenda.
But do you need to get past whatever her objection is to it at this point that she just stated in the last couple of days?
I see the concern being that we don't mimic what we saw under the previous administration in Albany, where what we would find time and again is the MTA was told, make this happen no matter what the cost is. And what we want to do is what we did when we made 5 bus routes free in New York City. We found $15 million, gave it to the MTA, covered the revenue they would have made from fares, and ensured that they could still be whole.
Is that the solution in your view? Is there a workaround to Governor Hochul's?
We're going to approach this as there's always a way to get to yes, that there's going to be a way, and we're going to work with the governor and her staff, and we're going to have conversations to get there.
And now, after demonizing Donald Trump and his supporters for the entire campaign, your boy says he's going to be reaching out to Trump for help, which is smart, which is very intelligent. And I want to point out to you, when Stephen A. Smith said that Jasmine Crockett needs to try to work with Trump, needs to try to work with Trump in order to get for her constituents what they need. As I said, bring home the bacon to her constituents. Stephen A. Smith was lambasted by people. How could you say that? Trump won't work with people. Look, it's your job to try, foo. It's your job to try.
Governor Hochul also mentioned recently that you and she have had conversations about how to possibly prevent issues with ICE, National Guard troops being sent to our city. How might you prevent it? And is there a conversation about possibly your reaching out to the federal government in advance to try to start that conversation? Or are you going to wait to hear from them?
No, I will be proactive in the work that I do, and I think that is because of the responsibility I hold to 8.5 million people of being their mayor. It is important that you are open to working with anyone, no matter what disagreements you may have. And I've said this when it pertains to President Trump, that if President Trump wants to speak about lowering the cost of living or delivering cheaper groceries like he ran on, I'm there to have that conversation. The distinction will be that previous administrations have looked to have that conversation to the benefit of themselves and the expense of the people that we look to serve.
Understood, but do you plan to call President Trump?
I will be reaching out to the White House and as we prepare to actually take office, because this is a relationship that will be critical to the success of the city.
So it wasn't just a hypothetical scenario on our debate stage. You're actually going to call him. What will you say?
Well, I'll say that I'm here to work for the benefit of everyone that calls the city home, and that wherever there is a possibility for working together towards that end, I'm ready. And if it's to the expense of those New Yorkers, I will fight it.
Your job is to reach out, because he is a key piece in getting done what you need to get done. So Mamdani has the two brain cells to rub together sufficient to put those two things together. Oh, I need something done. This guy can help. Let me see if he'll help me. Maybe he says no, but at least you tried, right? So he told you, so Mamdani, he blew a lot of smoke in order to get elected. And now he knew that Hochul wasn't going to back up all his plans, y'all. He knew that. She knew that. They're blowing smoke up your you-know-what to get elected. And then once they get elected, it's like, ooh, we'll figure it out. Hey, that's how all politicians do. But at least the man is smart enough to say, look, I'm going to work with the president if possible. That's a lot. He's already a lot further than a lot of these other politicians who have written it off from Jump Street. Try it. Try. If it doesn't work, then you have, okay, look, I tried, didn't work. Now we're going to have to do something else. But at least try. So I support this, even though it does constitute bending the knee when you judge that in light of what he's been saying for the past many months. Look at him on the screens, screaming and yelling at Tom Homan like a crazy man. So yeah, y'all, Mamdani, let's just keep it 100, right? As we say, let's just keep it a buck. He lied. He lied. He lied to get into office. He just lied. He lied to everybody to get into office, as so many of these, as all of these politicians do. Or we could say he creatively exaggerated. All right. And now that he's in, he's like, well, let's be positive. You know, we'll reach out to the president. We'll figure out some stuff. Hey, man, that's what these politicians do. And he's just one of them, y'all. So let me know. Drop a comment down below, y'all. Do you think that Mamdani, he says he's reaching out to the president, which I'm saying he's bending the knee, because you have to judge that in light of what he said previously about the president, right? Do you think other politicians on the Democrat side should be doing the same? Don't you think that would change the entire tone of the country if everybody were reaching out to Donald Trump saying, hey, how can we work together? Not that they have to bend their will to his will, but we need to work together. I mean, we're all in the United States of America. I think that's the right thing to do. I think Stephen A. Smith was correct. And I think that Mamdani saying he's going to do this, it validates Stephen A. Smith's point. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Y'all check out the first link in the description. It's our Patreon. I'm going to be uploading all of our paralegal classes probably today or tomorrow. So you're going to get all of that included, just $9 a month, y'all. And then all of the proceeds from that is going to go to help people who want to study to enter the paralegal field. Y'all, we're going to be making some scholarships. So you'll be supporting that as well. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. We'll see you back in the next one.